Hiya, I was just wondering if you had any vacancies or...
Set in England, 1953, No Dogs follows an Irishman, a Jamaican nurse and a dog as they struggle to find somewhere that they belong. We see Michael, our Irish immigrant, knocking on doors trying to find somewhere to stay, but nobody wants him. We see Esme, our Jamaican nurse, struggling at work as she faces prejudice and racism from her peers, superiors and patients. And we see our dog struggling to find someone to love him. No Dogs shows us what happens when a stranger offers you a helping hand and how it can affect both of you for the better.
I'm Alan Mahon and I'm playing Michael.
Oh, no dogs!
What attracted me to playing him is that we see the society through him and well, the prejudices that may exist, which still exist, just not towards Irish people anymore.
I'm NATASHA Gordon and I play Esme.
I'm unsure what you mean. I wash my hands before I come to you.
The whole story is quite familiar to me because my grandparents came over from Jamaica in the 50s. That story of the nurses coming over from the Caribbean is not so well told, and actually that's a huge part of our whole NHS story, which is really current.
The idea of No Dogs began with wanting to feature Irish immigration, specifically back in the 50s. Which sort of came from the idea that my granddad immigrated over to England, so I wanted to write something around that. So I already knew about the No Blacks, No Dogs, No Irish signs, so then it only felt natural to sort of bring that into the story and introduce 3 narratives and have 3 leads.
Favourite moment during the week was probably working with the dog, Teasel, something different compared to what we used to.
Favourite moment from the No Dog shooting week was probably using the Easy Rig, as it was really helpful when using Area Alexa, as the Area Alexa is really heavy. So it was much easier to manoeuvre it to get the best shots.
Seeing the script that I'd obviously written actually come to life. So then when we actually started filming it and we saw what it looked like and that it was actually starting to look good, that was definitely a really, really good moment.
But the old landlady there loved me. I was definitely her favourite. I was the youngest, she mothered me.
My dad was brought up in County Cavan, came over to England in 1949 and went through pretty much what this film tells in its story. So he faced the prejudices and he was the Irishman. And I imagine my dad looking at Michael and wanting to give him some advice.
No Dogs is going to be a really interesting short film because it's different to a lot of things that people normally write, because it's actually biopic based. The idea of this script is it could actually be taken and made into a feature film. This is almost like this is a pilot that could be pitched at festivals to be given money to make this into a full-length feature film, because I think a lot of people would be really interested in finding out about these stories and about these two completely different cultures coming together and finding out how there's so many similarities in them. So I'm really, really excited for this film to be shown on the big screen.
I was really pleased to see a story that sort of focused on these two races, these two cultures that share this very specific moment in history of the no dogs, no blacks, no Irish. It was, you know, very specific.
I think it's lovely that you've got a very young director who is interested in the history of her parents, presumably, and her grandparents, and is interested in her family and her roots, and is looking to tell that story. I think that's great, and I think that's interesting.
It was great fun.
Cut.
Sorry, did you like that?
That was so good. You laughed.
I was shocked.
What did you do? It was really cute, but I was just like, that was really personal for me. That
was so rude.
Did you realise that was perfect?